All right. So, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Carleton's Family Information Evening. My name is Stanley Philippe. It's so great to be amongst family here. It is a night where we get a chance to not just celebrate, but connect with you all and make sure you're feeling good about the next few weeks, next few months, the journey that you're going to be on as you're looking towards your post-secondary education. I want to start by acknowledging that Carleton University is located on the traditional unceded territories of the Algonquin Nation. And by doing so, we get a chance to reflect, to think, and to act, and to ensure that we are adhering to the protocols of the Algonquin people. So thank you once again for being here in person and online. For those of you who are tuning in virtually, thank you and welcome as well. Again, my name is Stanley Philippe. I am the EDI Outreach and Recruitment Officer here at Carleton University. I'm also host of the Talking Raven podcast. A lot of fans here. I'm really happy to see that. Yes. So we'll be talking a bit more about the podcast a little bit later on. But as a podcast host, I get a chance to really talk to some great folks here at Carleton University and hear about their story, their journey, what makes their Carleton really, really special. And I think that's the intention with tonight, is to help you figure out what makes your Carleton really special too. And to help officially welcome us tonight, I want to introduce Suzanne Blanchard. She is the Vice President, Student Enrollment and University Registrar here at Carleton, and she's going to say a few words. Suzanne? Round of applause.
So good evening, everyone. Really, whether you're here in person or virtually online, it's my pleasure to be here to welcome you to Carleton. I want to thank you for being here, and in particular, I want to thank all of the family members who are attending this evening's event. And for those of you who are Carleton alumni, welcome back. We know that you play a really key role in your students' success, and we're excited to have you here this evening with us. So over the course of this evening, you'll have an opportunity to meet our supportive faculty and our staff, along with our current engaging students that we have on campus. You will also learn what you can expect as a Carleton applicant and student, including information on admissions. Scholarships and bursaries are always interesting, support services, and the Carleton student experience. This year has been really a truly exciting year for all of us at Carleton. And from our championship win on women's Nordic skiing and women's basketball win, groundbreaking research that we have, and incredible achievements of our alumni. And we've certainly been really busy, but the excitement doesn't stop right there. There's a lot happening. So we've been busy over the last couple of years, and starting in fall 2025, Carleton's going to offer 6 new innovative and timely undergraduate programs. These programs really reflect our commitment to equipping students with the skills needed for the future. So students interested in computer science and engineering, they'll be able to choose a Bachelor of Cybersecurity, a Bachelor of Data Science, or Mechatronics Engineering. All great programs for the future that we know there's a large need. For those interested in commerce, our new Bachelor of Accounting program will provide a fresh and dynamic path into the business sector. And students interested in healthcare, our nursing program, and we have a partnership with the Queensway Carleton Hospital. And it's an accelerated 3-year program pathway to becoming a registered nurse in Canada. And finally, Carleton will also offer an exclusive online general studies degree within our Bachelor's of Arts. So I truly believe that Carleton's an excellent place to call home for all of our students. And we're excited to introduce our new residence building. It's called Rideau House, and it will be housing over 450 new students in the fall of 2025. So this new building, we really had a lot of feedback from our students of what type of building that they would like to see. So when we designed it to build it. So it features, it's modern and really designed spaces, including, we'll have a fitness center right in the residence, a theater room, a half-court gym, and also multi-faith space. So it really looks at fostering a sense of community and belonging for the students that are living on campus. We also have a Turanga Commons dining hall. It's an all-you-care-to-eat facility. We just renovated. It's extraordinary food with a variety of options available, such as all-day breakfast, there's a grill, and even a barista part of the program. Student life of Carleton is also great, it's vibrant and engaging, and there's a lot of opportunities to connect with others. So whether it's joining many of our student organizations and societies or clubs, there's a club for everyone. Participating in campus events, or simply meeting new people and residents. There are countless ways to help you find a community and build lifelong friendships on campus. At Carleton, we firmly believe in the value of also learning beyond the classroom. So we have a lot of opportunities for experiential learning. And as we know, the theory is great, but having experience with the academic experiential learning, it really gives an opportunity to learn in a different fashion. We offer first year labs, right? So our science degrees have labs in first year. We have discussion groups, experiential learning opportunities to enrich students' educational journeys. There's also ways of having international journeys and exchanges as well. And thanks to our location in Canada's capital and the strength of our community partnerships, we are proud to have, and you'll hear more about this, the third largest co-op program in Ontario. And it's the fastest growing, and we're continuing to grow. Our teams are developing new opportunities and really supporting the students to get ready for their applications to win those great opportunities for a great co-op placement. So they provide students with hands-on experience that prepare them for success in their chosen career paths after they graduate, with great examples on their resumes. So I want to thank you again. This is just some of the highlights, and the staff here are going to be able to give you a lot more information, the faculty as well. I want you to thank you for being here. It is a caring community. We really want our students to succeed. So please ask questions. And if you don't get all your answers today, email us. Our team is there ready to answer all the questions you may have. So we are really looking forward to be partners in helping you acquire all the skills and all the tools you need to help you achieve your academic, your personal, and also your professional potential. So thank you so much. I hope you have a great evening with a lot of great exchanges of information, and I'll turn it back to Stanley.
Thank you, Suzanne. It's so great to hear about all the cool things that are happening at Carleton, and it's creating this level of excitement, anticipation, and for a lot of students, that moment has led to an application. Perhaps you went to a presentation and you thought, wow, like that was really inspiring. I want to apply to that school. Or perhaps you had a conversation tonight and now you're thinking, oh, I want to submit my application. Or maybe you were listening to the podcast, the Talking Raven podcast, and you thought, wow, like that host is really good. I should maybe apply to that school. Whatever your story is, we want to continue that journey and let you know what's going to happen next. And to tell you more about that, I'd like to invite Jen Sugar, who is the Vice President of Enrollment Management, Associate Vice President, sorry, of Enrollment Management. And Jen's going to give you a talk about what's coming up next in the admission cycle, what to expect, and some really inspiring words too. So Jen Sugar, the floor is yours.
Thank you to Stanley for promoting me. Appreciate that. So I just got to find a spot for this. There we go. Okay. So my name is Jen Sugar. I'm the AVP Enrollment Management. What I want to do tonight is I want to talk a little bit about the admission process. This is one of my favorite times of year. So as excited as you are after having watched or listened to the Talking Raven podcast, and then submitted your application. So as excited as you are after that process, I'm actually more excited about this time of year. Because this is the time of year for us that is just the beginning of the application cycle, and it's a beginning of the admission cycle, and it's filled with all kinds of hope and promise, and everyone's super excited after having submitted their application. So what I want to do tonight is just walk you through a little bit of that process, and then if you'll indulge me, what I'd like to do is give you a little bit of advice as you make your choices and as you kind of go through this whole process. So the first thing is, in terms of the admission cycle, the way we make offers for students who are attending high school in Ontario, it's very straightforward. So basically the way it works is we get grades for you directly through the application center from your school, and we get those grades 4 times during the year. So the first time we see your grades is when you apply. The next time we see grades for you is in February. And so in February, the grades that we see are your final grades from your first term. And then we see grades for you again in April. Those are your midterm second semester grades. And then we see grades that are your final grades. And so what we do are what is called rolling offers of admission. And so what that means is every time we get grades for you, we calculate your admission average. We check to see if you have the prerequisites that you need in order to be admitted to the program that you applied to. We compare it to the average that we're using at that time because those averages change throughout the year. And as soon as you're eligible for an offer of admission, we send you one. So I told you it was straightforward. It is really straightforward. So we've already started making some offers of admission. And so it could be that you start, hearing at your school that some people are starting to get offers of admission. And usually what happens is when that starts to happen, people start to panic. That's like the first thing that happens because someone will come in and they will be like, I got an offer from Carleton. And there's inevitably someone else who doesn't have an offer, and so they start to panic. Sometimes they call us, sometimes they email, sometimes they just stay quiet, and they just panic on their own. But there's no need to panic. Basically, what happens is that there are all sorts of different admission averages. There are all sorts of different admission requirements. So there could be all sorts of reasons why you may or may not get an offer right away. So in some cases, we might be waiting for you to take a particular course, and you might have that course in second semester. In some cases, we might have looked at your midterm grade in something that we need, and it might not be high enough yet. So we might be waiting for the next round of grades that we get for you at that point. So if you've applied to something and you don't have an offer yet, don't worry. We're busy kind of working through all of the information that we have, and we will get you an offer as soon as we can. One thing to know about getting an early offer of admission is that if you've applied for a program that has an additional piece of information, an additional requirement, so a supplementary application or a portfolio. So these will be things like architecture, industrial design, maybe music, our brand new nursing program that Suzanne highlighted. All of these things have additional admission requirements. And you'll notice that in a lot of cases, those things are due in the spring. They're due usually in March. And so if that's the case, you have to know that you're not going to get an early offer of admission for those programs, because what we do is we wait till we receive all of the submissions for those programs, then we evaluate them, and then we see who we would like to admit when we look at their portfolio and we look at their grades and their prerequisites. And so that's a process that happens in the spring. So if you're someone who applied for one of those programs, know that you are just not going to get an early offer of admission. You'll have to wait until a little bit later. The other thing to know about offers, and this is just something to keep in mind for the end of the year, all of our offers that we make right now are conditional because you're still in school. And so even if we send you an offer of admission, we send you information about what you need, what your average needs to be at the end of the day in order for you to keep your offer of admission. So in answer to the question, for anyone in this room who has an offer, if you've asked yourself, do I need to still keep going to high school? Yes. Yes. You 100% still need to keep going. And you need to keep your average up in order for you to keep your offer. So that's just kind of the rough outline of what you can expect in regard to the offers of admission. Now it's time for my advice. So the first thing that I will say is, for anyone who's a little bit unsure about what they want to choose, maybe you've applied to 2 or 3 different programs, you're not exactly sure what you're going to pick, you're still making your decision. So the first thing to know is that everyone in your life is going to have an opinion about what it is that you should major in and what program you should take at university. My advice is ignore all those people. And I'm sorry because some of those people are your parents. And the reason why I say ignore all those people is because what's super critical is for you to major in what you enjoy. This is a long journey. Stenley was talking about the application process being a long journey. University is a long journey, and it is a lot of hard work. And if you try to major in something that you don't enjoy, you're not going to get the most out of it because it's going to be an uphill battle and it's going to be a slog for you to really get the most out of your major. And what's important to know is that no matter what you take here, no matter what you major in, no matter what program you pick, you are going to get a whole series of transferable skills that are going to take you into the future. You are going to learn high-level reading skills, writing skills, critical thinking skills. You're going to learn all sorts of technology. You're going to learn how to work on your own. You're going to learn how to work in groups. And that's what you're going to take out into the workforce. And here's the thing to remember about all the folks who say, you have to major in this because it's going to get you a job. Or you have to major in that because it's going to get you a job. Remember this. The vast majority of the jobs that are going to exist 4 years from now when you graduate don't exist right now. So you need to be ready with a series of skills to be able to pivot, to be able to respond to the workforce that will exist in 4 years. That's what we're getting you ready for. We're not getting you ready for something that's happening right now. We're getting you ready for something that's going to be happening in the future. That's the value of a university degree. And so you need to keep that in mind, and that's why it's so important to major in what you love. Think about this. When you come to university, if you take a full course load, depending on your program, you'll be in class anywhere between 15 and 20 hours a week. All the high school students are like, that's amazing. Because you're thinking, I spend a lot more time in class than that right now. But remember this, in university, a lot of the work that you do is on your own. And so in order for you to really get the most out of your degree and to get good grades, which is really what most people come here for, you need to keep the 2-to-1 ratio in mind. 2-to-1 means that for every hour you spend in class, you should be spending 2 hours outside of class, reading, writing, preparing, going through material, studying on your own. And so if you think about that, even if you only spend 15 hours a week in class, if you follow that 2-to-1 ratio, you're going to be spending 30 hours a week outside of class doing all of the rest of this work. So that's 45 hours a week. So that's more than a lot of people work in a full-time job, right? So you're taking on a full-time job. And that's why it's so critical for you to major in what you love, is so that you can get the most out of it. And so I'll ask you this. How many people here, just by a show of hands, you can even do a small, like you don't have to you can just do a little show of hands. How many folks here have ever had a job, full-time, part-time, doesn't matter, that you've absolutely despised? Yeah. See how fast some of those hands went up? Like as if I could get you out of that job right now. Think about that. So think about your experience doing something that you really despised. You didn't get out of bed in the morning and you weren't like, yes, I'm going to work. It's the exact same thing if you try to major in something that you don't enjoy. You're not going to be there with the motivation, with the being intentional about what you are learning. And that's why it's so critical, because of the amount of work that this is. And remember, when we go back to what's going to get you a job, what's not going to get you a job, all of this stuff, remember, it's not just the transferable skills that you're taking from your degree. There are all sorts of co-op, practicum, placement, work-integrated learning opportunities for almost every degree program that we offer here. So in addition to these skills being something that you'll be able to leave with and that you'll be able to talk to an employer in the future and say, hey, these are all the skills I have, you'll be able to apply those things right away while you're doing your undergraduate degree and be able to test out the new skills that you're learning in the workforce while you are actually completing your degree. So it really is the whole package. So that's my advice. And that's what I want you to think about when you're circulating around and when you're talking to folks and when you're reading the view book and when you're trying to decide what to major in. But remember this, no matter what you pick, no matter what you decide, when you come to Carleton, we are going to support you. We're going to support you through the challenge that is university. We are going to make it so that when you come here, you can get the most out of your time here, and then you can go out into the world and you can make your impact. So thanks very much for coming tonight. I really appreciate you all, and good luck with your application, and good luck getting all the information tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jen. I really like the part where you talked about staying in school because I think that's super important, and we really mean that. And I want to give you all an incentive to do just that, to stay in your classes. And that incentive is, of course, money. So here's how it works. When students are admitted at Carleton University and they have an 80% average or better on their admission average, they'll receive an entrance scholarship valued between $4,000 and $16,000 over the course of 4 years, just like that. So if you don't stay in school, then you can't get the scholarship. Now here's how it works at Carleton. So again, get your offer of admission to Carleton. In your offer package, you will see, again, if you're admitted with an 80% or better, you will see details about your entrance scholarship. So they'll tell you, congratulations, you received an entrance scholarship valued at $8,000 over the course of 4 years. Okay, that'll be indicated in your offer. Now, as Jen mentioned, there are some offers that are being made currently, and we'll continue that process throughout the year. And if a student receives an offer, let's say today or tomorrow or in January, February, before their second semester midterm marks, there's an opportunity for us to increase your entrance scholarship. We're going to be reviewing your admission average up until your second semester midterms. Okay, so if that average goes up, that scholarship will increase as well. So again, if you're that student that has in your offer package an entrance scholarship valued at $8,000 over 4 years, you most likely have between an 85 and 89% average. If you're able to increase your admission average to, let's say, a 95 by your second semester midterm marks, your scholarship will increase as well automatically to $16,000 over 4 years. Okay? Now here's where it gets interesting. Let's say if your scholarship or your admission average dropped from a 95 in January to an 85 in April. Guess what would happen to your entrance scholarship? Oh no, it will stay the same. Okay, there's no Scrooge moment here. We will make sure to keep your scholarship at the highest level that we offered, provided you meet the conditions of your offer. And as Jen mentioned, in your offer package, there'll be information about that, how you can maintain your conditional offer of admission. Okay. Once you're at Carleton, you'll need to maintain an A- average to renew the same scholarship that we promised you going in. So that means that if you're a 95% high school student, you don't have to have a 95 at Carleton to get your $4,000 back. Okay, we're looking for, again, that A- standing, and every year we see that, we'll automatically renew that entrance scholarship that you earned going into your first year of study. Now, there are other ways of receiving financial assistance. Maybe you're what I label a superstar student. You have a 90% average or better. You're involved in extracurricular activities. You listen to the Talking Raven podcast, things of that nature. Okay, that's the last one, the last reference. Maybe. We want to make sure that we hear about that, hear about your involvement, hear about the way that you've been able to excel inside and outside of the classroom. And the way you do that is by applying for a prestige scholarship. The deadline to apply is March 1st. The website to apply is carleton.ca/awards. There are 24 prestige scholarships that are available, only one application required for you to qualify for one of the 24. And as you can see, there is full tuition available. So there's a potential for you to receive full tuition in your year 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so scholarships are a conversation about your academic achievement, and in some cases, your involvement within your community as well. Whereas bursaries are a conversation about your financial need. So we're trying to figure out how we can make the tuition, residence, any other costs that you might have associated to your studies make a little bit more sense to you and your families. Okay, so the way you do that is by applying for an entrance bursary. Again, there are 2 different bursaries that were listed there. Same website, carleton.ca/awards, to get more information about those entrance bursaries. And it's really, really important for us to encourage students to take the time to apply, to ask those questions, to visit that website, carleton.ca/awards, and really let us know and attempt to receive some of those scholarships and bursaries. When I was a kid, I wrote to Santa, and I asked Santa for a brand new bike, and I got that bike. And the reason why I got that bike is because I asked Santa for a bike. If I didn't ask Santa for that bike, I wouldn't have received the bike. So you've got to ask the question for you to receive the gift. You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. That's another really great expression I like to use at this slide. So really, again, take the time, apply. You never know what could happen, but you can really allow yourself to earn, again, some financial assistance and some rewards and awards that can, again, help to contribute to your financial outlook. right? So please take the time to do just that. Now, a lot of students that are thinking about coming to Carleton are thinking about living in residence. Residence is guaranteed for all first-year students that are entering our school. Whether you're coming from Toronto like I did, I moved to Ottawa and onto Carleton's campus a few years back, straight from Scarborough, Ontario, and really residence helped me find my way. You know, I didn't know really who I was until I got here, and I met my roommate and was supported by my residence fellow. It really helped with my transition into university. And even if you are from the Ottawa area, you can also live in residence. My roommate was from Stittsville, Ontario, which is anyone here from Stittsville? Oh, awesome. Shout out. So yeah, Ryan Higgins. Ryan, if you're watching, you're a great guy. Thanks a lot for being my roommate. He was really great. He helped me kind of figure out the city of Ottawa, helped me navigate the city. And every weekend he would go home and do his laundry at his parents' place. Ryan did my laundry too. So you could be that person. You could be someone's Ryan if you want to. Okay, so residence, again, is guaranteed for all of our first-year students. What we guarantee you is a traditional double room. That means that we'll have two people sharing a room, two rooms sharing a bathroom. That's our traditional setup. We also have a suite-style residence where there is a kind of a kitchenette area in the suite, a common space in the suite, bathroom, and then your rooms in that suite as well. Okay, so you can request to live in a suite style, but what we'll be able to guarantee you is a traditional setup. And there's a lot of really great support available for students in residence counseling services. Our residence fellows who are up-year students who live on your floor, they really serve as mentors. They're there to help guide you, keep you informed what's happening on campus, get you involved in our community as well. And again, residence is such an exciting place. As Suzanne mentioned, we have a brand new building that will be opening in the fall of 2025, the Rito House. We have a beautiful dining hall, Triangle Commons dining hall, that is a really great space. It's been recently renovated. Really great food, all you care to eat culinary experience. Again, all you care to eat, and unlimited access into our dining hall as well. Right, so you're able to go in and out during operating hours as you please, and again, indulge if you like to, and really, again, be able to create community while you are living in residence. And community is the key word for us here at Carleton. You know, we really are a school that wants to make sure that you are part of our community, you start to build your community, and that you are exposed to the Ottawa community and surrounding areas as well. And a big part of that exposure is the work that's available. And we know that our students are thinking about what's going to happen next. And to tell you more about what's going to happen next, I'd like to invite Caitlin McGregor, who is the Assistant Manager of Cooperative Education, to tell you a bit more about how co-op works at Carleton U. Caitlin.
Okay, super. Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for coming tonight. I don't like following Sten, but so be it. My name's Caitlin McGregor, and I'm an assistant manager in cooperative education. I have a headshot from about 10 years ago that I haven't replaced, but I'm keeping it for this evening. So thank you again. I have got a quote to start this presentation with that I think some folks might be able to relate to. More and more students are spending more and more money on higher education, and their main goal is largely pragmatic: to boost their employability and be a valuable contributor to the economy. So that's from the Harvard Business Review several years ago. So let me ask you this. There's so many reasons to go to university. There's so many fantastic reasons, but is this not one of them, right? To walk out the door at the end of the 4 or 5 years with co-op, with experience under your belt, and possibly a job offer upon graduation. That is the best that students end up with from the co-op program, and I'm here to tell you a little bit more about how you can access it. And I know that the folks in admissions services would be happy to add the co-op option if you've already applied and didn't select it through the UAC. It's quite easy. What is co-op? Some of you might be familiar with the term from high school. It's an integrated learning program. So that means you alternate study terms with work terms. There's 3 or 4 that are mandatory depending on your program in order to get the co-op designation when you graduate. It's full-time and it's paid, and you get support from co-op staff along the way. Advantages of co-op at Carleton include choice. So we offer the co-op stream in over 200 undergraduate programs, streams, concentrations. Locations in Canada's capital, you can't beat it. We have the high-tech Canada Park just down the street. We have government organizations who hire. We have thriving businesses here. We have longer work terms available to students, so as long as 16 months, allowing people to really get in-depth project experience. And we have an extensive employer database that we add to each year. So Suzanne talked about the growth of the co-op program at Carleton. I'm going to repeat it. We have become the fastest growing in Canada and the third largest co-op program in Ontario. As a result of strong employer partnerships, we had a record 3,521 work terms supported by the co-op team this past school year. And some statistics for you, if you guys are numbers people. We had over 5,000 jobs posted to the co-op job board in 23-24, over 1,500 new employers added to our database. The average hourly co-op wage, this does depend on a student's academic program and year of study, varies between $21 to $27 an hour. On average, you have seen students, I have seen students earn as much as high 30s, low 40s salary an hour. And we have an employer satisfaction rate of 99%. So that just speaks to the quality of work that the Carleton students are doing, the impression they're making in the community, and the real professional investment that I think they're putting into their futures. We offer an amazing award program where students can nominate their employers for awards and vice versa. Here we have last year's co-op award winners. We have Austin Harrington, a fourth year, I'm sorry, I got a little trigger happy there. Fourth year Bachelor of Civil Engineering student. Aidan Oliver Burgess, a Master of International Affairs student at the grad level, and our Employer of the Year was Omar Masood, team lead at Gas Top. So these are folks that take the time to nominate each other for the tremendous leadership and tremendous work that the students themselves do. So you might be wondering, where can co-op students work? So I listed just a few programs, some of the biggest draws to co-op. Engineering, Bachelor of Commerce, Bachelor of Computer Science. Again, co-op is offered in so many streams, I couldn't possibly fit it on one slide. These are just some of the organizations that hire year after year, with whom we have really great relationships, and our students do a bang-up job. Career readiness starts with day one. So students admitted to co-op get prepped for entering the workforce by taking a course that teaches resume writing, how to do a very tailored cover letter, how to impress in an interview, what questions to prepare for, what questions to ask, how to transition from school to the workforce. That's day one of co-op before job board access gets set. The end of the picture is launching your career. So co-op work experience equals professional network and valuable references. And co-op students are twice as likely to find full-time employment in their field post-graduation than those who don't take advantage of the program. And here we have, my eyes are straining. I'm not even sure I can read my own quotation here, but maybe if I turn this way, we have a student named Alexa who did co-op placements at Public Health as a junior scientific evaluator. She says she was able to network a lot and learn about opportunities that ultimately landed me the job I have now. See, I should have brought my glasses. This is embarrassing. It helped me find what my true interests were. That's a little bit about co-op. And I want to assure you, there are a handful of programs that don't offer the co-op option. That's okay. Like Jen mentioned, there's other ways to get work integrated learning experience. One of those ways for those handful of programs is internships, practicum, field placements, but also really taking advantage of career services. This is our sister office, and they provide resume, cover letter, LinkedIn help for all students, all programs, all levels. They have a job board, they do networking opportunities, interview prep and mock interviews. They discuss career options with students, and they can help you change your major. So as Jen mentioned, if you are one of those people that starts out in a program that maybe wasn't for you, or you find out it's not for you, you can always switch. There's always opportunities. There's always a second chance, right, to move into something that you really love and fits you as a student. So there's ways to get experience as well through career services. We have an international internship program, a wonderful program for students who identify as having disabilities called the Act to Employ program. We have job shadow workshops and experiences, work study, that's for students in financial need who can get a certain number of hours on campus. And we're always inviting employers to come to campus to meet our students. Recruitment, career fairs, networking, and featured jobs. So I really, really hope you folks stick around, ask me some questions, send emails, call. Co-op office is always available to talk to you. If you didn't select the co-op option, please do reach out to admissions. I know they'll be happy to add it for you. And I'm happy to answer questions at the very end of tonight. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Caitlin. Okay, so it's now time to hear from our students. And, you know, again, I mentioned the community beforehand, and there would be no Carleton community with our amazing students. So we wanted to have a conversation, and like Caitlin mentioned, we'll then give you a chance to ask questions to our students, to Jen, to Caitlin, and to hear more about what you're thinking regards to your application process and journey. And for the folks who are listening online, we're seeing your questions coming into our chat. Thank you so much for asking those questions. We'll pick up a couple of those questions too and answer them live for you later on tonight. But before we do that, I want to invite our student panel, Sukriti and Shay, to come on stage to share some thoughts. Round of applause. Okay, so I have some questions to ask you. Before we do that, I want to get to know you better. So, Shay, tell us a bit more about yourself, the program you're in, more about your Carleton experience.
Yeah, so hello everyone, my name is Shay. I'm studying sociology with a minor in women and gender studies, and I'm entering my final year. I moved from the Toronto area just to come to Carleton, and I made that decision because I knew Carleton was the right place for me to start my academic journey as well as my professional career. So in this time that I've spent at Carleton, when I first joined, I lived on residence. So shout out to Glengarry 9th floor. I had an amazing time there, and living on campus allowed me to open up, be more confident, and be more bold. And that really influenced the rest of my journey here at Carleton. So with that, I really want to commend Carleton for having a very high quality programs, education, and the courses. I've really been able to strengthen my skills as an academic in sociology. It's an arts program. It's not really popular, and I have to say the most common thing I've heard is, "What job are you going to do with sociology?" And I'm always like, thanks to Carleton, honestly, anything. I have the ability to take these skills that I've gained in my program and apply it in the professional sphere, and that's also thanks to my co-op. So I did a 4-month co-op at a nonprofit, and that was making literacy programs in West Africa. And then I did a 16-month co-op, which is way more than what's required, at General Motors in communications. So there's a wealth of opportunities that were provided to me thanks to Carleton, with the support of professors, the various services that are available here to students, and as well as the self-encouragement I got just from this great community and the people that I met that are from international places as well as local. So it was a really nice opportunity, and I'm glad that now that I'm in my 4th year, I can take all this experience that I've gained and move forward as I start my professional journey. Yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Thank you. And Sukriti, you too. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Round of applause. Yes. What a lovely. Y'all are very, very nice. Sukriti, tell us more about yourself.
Yeah, so hi everyone. My name is Sukriti, as Stanley mentioned. So I studied aerospace engineering at Carleton, and I studied the space systems design stream. So my passion for aerospace and innovation has led me to explore very diverse opportunities here at Carleton, starting with a research project in collaboration with the Canadian Space Agency, where my team and I designed a payload for a stratospheric balloon experiment to test cosmic radiation and how we can minimize those effects during space travel. So being part of that launch process, it was a really unforgettable moment, and I got to network a lot, and it really deepened my understanding about space technologies and payload integration. I also had the pleasure of doing a co-op work term at the National Research Council of Canada in their aerodynamics laboratory and their flight research laboratory, where I was notably working on an airborne simulation project. So yes, the pilot is in simulation while they're flying the helicopter, with safety, of course. And that was for a ship, for a naval ship to helicopter operation. So some of my other work that also included there was actually really cool because I got to conduct these virtual reality flight tests, analyze pilot performance, and also conduct really cool wind tunnel tests for small drones and other type of airfoils. So Carleton's co-op program is really great because they really show you the value of real-world applications to really strengthen the theory that you learn in class. But besides aerospace, my passion also lies in giving back to the community. So I was very fortunate enough to participate in the Alternative Spring Break program in Costa Rica, where I supported education and human initiative rights for a local indigenous community. So one of my favorite contributions to that project was co-creating a children's book on education and human rights. And it was a really, really special moment to see that local school adopt that children's book to spread information. So it was a really good creative challenge. And of course, again, with Carleton, these opportunities are available for you to improve your leadership and communication skills and take part in interdisciplinary projects and activities.
Wow, that was impressive. Yes, round of applause.
Thank you.
I know a thing or two about like launching something because I launched a podcast not so long ago, but I won't talk about that.
That's great.
I want to know from both of you, you both explained and talked about your involvements on campus and off campus too through your co-op and other opportunities. And I want to know, was that always the plan? Like, were you always thinking like in high school, oh, when I get to university, I'm going to do so many different things? Or was there something about your experience here that kind of led you into almost like an organic transition into becoming much more active in this community? Like what came first, your intention, or was it the space, the environment that led to that? Shay, how about you take that question first?
It was very organic. I didn't go to university with the intention to be so involved here in the Carleton community. I was really involved in high school, but I thought I'd take a low profile in university because it's a really large place. There's thousands of students. It can be very overwhelming. But at Carleton, it was very natural that you felt inclined to almost participate in the different communities. I've joined various clubs. I was in the sociology, anthropology student associations, and that just felt natural because the community was so welcoming. There's other clubs like the book club, so if you love reading, you just join the book club and you meet a lot of friendly people. So it was definitely organic and not intentional for me.
Yeah, that's great. Mine was a little bit different to Shay's because I did have the intention of getting involved. Keeping in mind that I was applying to engineering and I knew it was a very hands-on field, I knew that experience, I needed experience outside of that classroom. However, I had no idea of how to do that. So that's where a lot of my mentorship from professors came into play. Carleton's engineering and STEM programs in general, we're very fortunate because we have societies that are student-run on campus, so they actually help you get to that next level and achieve your goals and get out of your comfort zone. So I was really able to get that mentorship, get that network built, so I could do projects like with the Canadian Space Agency and meet like-minded people to fulfill my goals.
Yeah, and then as you're meeting people, you're making connections. I'm sure a lot of friendships. And I reference my roommate Ryan. I want to know for both of you, who was that first person? What was that first friendship that you made at Carleton? Because it's part of it, right? It's part of the journey, and part of the fear is that, hey, I'm going to be in a new space and I won't know anybody, and it's maybe really challenging to, again, make those connections, those meaningful connections. So Sukriti, maybe you could start with this one. Was there a person that you met that you're like, wow, like this is my reminder that there are really great people who are like me that are trying to navigate these spaces and excel?
Oh, 100%, yeah. So I remember when I was also living on residence, Dundas, in my first year, we had a residence event where we were watching a movie in our residence lounge. So one of my really good friends to this day in that event, and we really bonded over our ambition and about our passion for really making a difference in the community. Because university life can go by so quickly, we really both wanted to make that difference. And so she introduced me actually because she did a bit more research than I did about student life. So she introduced me to the Student Experience Office here at Carleton, and they host a various number of activities and events that you can take part into. So we both volunteered together off campus in something called Campus to Community events, where you go ahead and, you could go to a homeless shelter and volunteer, or with Christmas coming up in the holiday times, we went and helped out at the food bank to give food to people who were a bit less fortunate, or who couldn't afford some of the necessities in life. So that really reminds me that Carleton is a really small, tight-knit community, but they're so powerful, and every person on campus has a goal, and they do really achieve that goal.
And in my experience is really similar. I met my first friend at Carleton on residence as well. This is someone who I previously knew back home, but we never really interacted. But then, when you come to Carleton, you guys become a larger community. And then similarly as well, like we were both driven, we were both in the arts, and a big question that we have studying the degrees such as like sociology, we're like, well, what are we doing? Like we were really deep into theory, and like how can we apply this and help the community? So we also did give back as well. We did a Christmas event for our residents. We all bought gifts, and then we donated them as well. So like meeting other people on the floor and interacting, it was a really great experience. So meeting this one person and us applying the learning that we had in sociology, we brought our larger floor together and we participated, and I still talk to a lot of these people today. So usually when you meet one person, it cascades and snowballs, and you meet more here at university because everyone does want to be connected, and we're just a larger Carleton community. So it's a very friendly campus.
Yeah, and it starts with that conversation, right? Like it's that first conversation where you're brave enough to kind of step up and say, hey, like we might have something in common. Let's find that, and then, like you said, it blossoms into a really great network and community. And as you're both kind of wrapping up your undergraduate experiences, I want to know, as a last question for me, your favorite kind of Carleton memory. I know it's hard to kind of pick one, but if you had to pick one to talk about tonight, what's your favorite Carleton memory thus far?
I'll kick it off. So I'm currently living through my favorite Carleton memory, talking with the host of the
Wow, that was not scripted, y'all.
That one too. But so as I said, I'm in my final year and I'm currently writing my thesis. So at Carleton, you can write a thesis as part of your undergraduate program, which isn't really common. So I'm very excited to be doing that. And I'm also doing that with the support of a professor who is extremely helpful, and they're extremely knowledgeable, which has just been such an enriching moment for me to be going through, because it feels like the culmination of all my learning experiences are coming together to write in a piece of original research. So this has been a very formative and knowledgeable time for me as I'm writing my thesis, and hopefully we can get it published in a student publication. So this has been a really fruitful moment that I'm having. So thanks to all the support provided by Carleton, and especially with the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences and everything that they provide to students. I'm just feeling very supported in this moment. So it's currently my favorite out of all the years.
That's awesome. Yeah, congratulations on that. That's awesome. For myself, it has to be when I participated in an engineering design club. We call it the CU in Space Club, where it's a rocketry club, and you get to design a payload and kind of launch it on the rocket, and then we have competitions at the end of each academic year. So I think that was my favorite moment, because I love satellites. I call myself a space buff, so I love anything that flies. So in order to design something and see it come into fruition and take flight with your whole team there, working on it so hard was definitely my favorite part, and also really solidified that I love hands-on learning. And if anyone's thinking about STEM in general, getting into a STEM field, hands-on learning is so important, and there's so many ways you can do that at Carleton. So I think it was everyone on my team, that was our favorite moment so far.
Well, thank you both so much for sharing your stories and for answering my questions. I'm going to get our other panelists, Caitlin and Jen, to join us here as we open up our floor for questions from not only from all of you, but also from the folks who are listening online. So are there any questions from the audience that we want to maybe tackle first and foremost?
Hi. I have two questions. It's like, for first question, do you accept for admission? Do you accept for repeat course, to repeat marks for the course? And the second question is like, my daughter applied for nursing program. And its nursing program is asked for the supplementary document. It's like we want to know is how much the percentage the supplementary going to account for. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so in regard to the first part of the question, do we take repeated courses? We take, if a student does repeat a course, we take the best grade. So that's the first part of that, so. Sorry?
She took 2. It's like, yeah. She
So
repeated 2 courses.
So she's repeated 2 different courses?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in both of those cases, we would take the best grade.
Okay.
Yeah.
So okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
accept?
And so in regard to the supplemental application,
Yeah.
in terms of the weighting, the supplemental application will account for quite a bit in terms of whether a student is selected. The best way to sort of describe that is that the supplemental application tells the nursing faculty really about the student in terms of their experiences, why they think they would be a good fit for nursing, and so on. And so a lot of the weight of who will be selected will be placed on the supplemental application. The average will likely still be high because it's a limited enrollment program, and so inevitably when something's limited, the average is high, but the supplemental application will play a huge part in whether a student is selected. So, for example, it is possible that a student with an 80% average and an excellent supplemental application will be selected for the program. A student with a 99% average and a less good supplemental application will not be selected for the program. So the supplemental is a huge part of the application.
Okay, thank you so much. We know that this is a new program in
Yes.
Carleton University, and it's only 3 years program. It's for BSN. Most of the university have a 4 years program.
Correct.
We want to know is how the setup is for this program. How do you set up for this program? Is this a 3-year program? Is no co-op, no placement?
No, so it's an intensive accelerated program. And so the program, although the program is only 3 years long, the program requires that students study full-time in the fall, winter, and summer terms of all of the years of their degree program.
Okay.
And so students have to be ready to be studying full-time basically throughout their entire degree program.
Okay.
So it's 4 years, but in 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So.
Jen, since you love to chat about a lot of great things, I got a question online about the timing of prerequisite courses. So if
Yeah.
the student is thinking about applying to a program, let's say a science program or engineering program, and they're taking their prerequisite courses in the second semester, how does that impact the timing of their offer? And will it be a kind of a, I don't want to say negative, but will they have an impact on getting that offer itself?
Yeah. So basically the way it works is in cases where we're looking for certain prerequisite courses, when we're calculating that prerequisite average and calculating the overall average, if we don't have a particular course, like let's say we need biology, and the student is taking that in second semester, we will dip back to grade 11 and bring that grade 11 biology forward and use that as a placeholder until we have the grade 12 biology grade. But remember, so in a case like nursing, I know that some students are concerned about, some of my prerequisites are in the second term, what will that mean for nursing? But remember what I said at the beginning, right? Supplemental application, offers are only coming later anyway. And so we will have a lot of those grades before we'll be ready to start sending those nursing offers. So in cases like engineering or whatever, we dip back, but just keep in mind with the portfolio programs and the ones that require supplemental information, there's a different timing issue there.
Awesome. Yes.
Thank you. So with regards to programs that require supplemental applications, when should students expect to hear approximately?
So that depends a little bit on the program. So, and on sort of the timing. So with something like music, for example, it's a small program. They tend to work through students and their auditions sort of sequentially, and they have much more time. With something like architecture, they tend to be reviewed all in sort of a chunk. But in general, it's reasonable to believe that most students who have applied to something that requires a supplemental application will hear in April. I realize April has many days in it, but that's about as good as I can do, given that there are like 7 programs that have supplementals.
So given, let's say nursing, and let's say there's mandatory courses that are taken second semester, final marks wouldn't be in by April, but a conditional offer could be given based on midterm.
Midterm second semester, or whatever they took in first semester, or dip back to grade 11,
Okay,
bring those forward.
thank you.
Yeah.
Hi. Can you explain what do you ask in the supplementary application? I'm not sure what it.
Yeah, so because there are many programs that require a supplemental application, the best thing to do to see the requirements for all of them is to go to the admissions website, admissions.carleton.ca, and right on that homepage there is a now that you've applied to Carleton kind of section. You can click on that and you can see the supplemental requirements, because of course the requirements that are needed for social work are very different than what's required for architecture, and so it's important to kind of dive into the details. As an example, architecture, the requirements are like roughly 3 pages long, so it takes a little bit of kind of reading to see what it is that they would like in terms of the portfolio.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for taking my question. I'm looking at the brochure. Is English a requirement for engineering?
It is not. It is not. But students do need English to graduate from high school, so they will still be taking English. But in terms of how we calculate the admission average, basically the 4 prerequisites for engineering are functions, chemistry, physics, and then a student has a choice of either calculus and vectors, biology, or earth and space science as their 4th. So those are the prerequisite courses. So those 4 plus the next best 2. So most students will give us functions, calculus and vectors, physics, chemistry as their prerequisites, and then their next best 2. That's what makes up the 6.
So you would also consider French?
Sorry?
You would also consider French?
Correct, yes. If the student has French and it's one of their better courses, absolutely.
How does participation in the co-op program affect the duration of the degree?
I believe that's for me. Is this on? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I'm just going to hold this. So that's a good question. So co-op is available to honors programs only. So an honors program is designed to be completed within 4 years. That's not always the case here at Carleton. I know we make a point of telling students, go at a pace that works for you. Having said that, it can be done full-time, 4 years, case closed. Co-op will always add a semester, if not a full year extra, because when students are on their work terms, they're not studying. They're not studying at all. They have the option of taking a half-credit course, but that is so minimal, it's not going to speed up their degree in any real sense. We also have a strong rule that says students have to come back to the university for their very last year and end their degree in the classroom. So that is designed so that students can take what they've learned in the workplace and really integrate it into their learning in their final year. So in most cases, you're looking at a 5-year experience in university for a co-op student, as opposed to a quote-unquote regular honors degree would be 4. Yeah. It doesn't cost more money, having said that. It doesn't cost a lot more money, I should say, because you don't pay tuition while you're on a co-op work term. You do, however, pay some small co-op fees. All of that info's on our website if you're interested. Thank you for the question.
Okay, so could you explain, I'm pretty sure I've heard other universities do this, but could you go into more detail about the process for students who get a little bit under the grade requirements? So, because I've heard there's an application where students who are like a little bit under the requirement, they can like apply and like give a resume as to why they're good for the program, even though their marks didn't.
You mean for admissions, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So in terms of being admitted to a degree program, there are a series, obviously we have many different degree programs. They all have different admission averages and so on. In terms of, if you remember at the beginning when I was talking, I said that there are different admission averages that are used throughout the year. And so the averages that we use at the beginning of the year, where a student, let's say, may not be eligible, they do tend to come down as we move throughout the admission cycle. So it could be that a student who's not eligible at the beginning is actually eligible at the end. If we go through the entire admission cycle and a student is not eligible for any program at Carleton, then we have our enriched support program, which is a program that is separate from the admission process. They have their own application, and basically what they're trying to determine is whether students have, even though they might have encountered some difficulty throughout their high school career, that they have the potential to be university students. And so what ESP allows is for students to come in and have a supported start. There's extra support. They come in, they take 3 credits, 3 Carleton credits, and then there are 2 additional workshops that they take as part of ESP. And then as long as they achieve a particular GPA at the end of the year, then they can apply and move into full-time studies. And ESP is great because they have a variety of different streams for a variety of different programs. So they have a science stream, computer science, business, the BA. They have a lot of different ways for students to find pathways into degree programs. So that is an option. Sometimes a better option is for a student to return to high school and increase their admission average and then try again. What I always recommend is that if a student isn't eligible for what they wanted, or if maybe they don't want to start in ESP, that they continue that conversation with the admissions office, because the admissions office can look at your particular situation and see what makes sense in terms of whether returning to high school is a better idea or perhaps starting with a supported start in ESP. So those are different options.
Okay, and then a follow-up question to that. So would you recommend, and this goes for the students as well, would you guys recommend taking picking out courses that are more focused on what you like instead of picking courses that you know you're going to pass in? Because going off of what I asked, if you were to fail, well, not get the required marks. So if you applied for courses that you wanted but you didn't get into, you would have no other options. So would it be better to pile up your application offers for courses that you like or courses that you think you're going to pass in?
You mean high school courses?
Yes, high school courses.
Yeah. So I can actually speak a little bit on that. So I would actually recommend piling up your courses on things that you're actually interested in, right? Because how it usually works is the things that you're interested in, you're just likely to do better. And so there are a lot of support as well these days as to how you can achieve that average you want. But sometimes what happens is you take classes that you know you're going to pass in, but then later on you realize, oh, this is not what I want to do, as Jen Sugar mentioned earlier as well, that you always want to reflect back to what your passion lies in and what you are interested in more than, oh yeah, this seems easy, I'll just do it. But then later find that's not really what you want to be doing and it's boring.
Yeah. I think you said it.
Yeah, that was perfect advice.
Yeah.
Perfect advice.
Hi. So this might be a more student life-oriented question.
I'm out.
But I was wondering how, or if you had any advice about segueing from the high school workload, social life, all that into the university, since there's going to be more work, it's more narrowed into what you're interested in or what your major is, and just how you balance your work and social life.
Yeah, I can kick it off. In terms of that transition, you never know what to expect until you're fully integrated in that environment. That was my personal experience. I was never able to fully predict how university will be. So it is a little bit of a shock, as you mentioned earlier, Jen, that you have less time in your classes, so you think you have a bunch of free time, but that free time is actually meant to be studying. So just finding that balance is my biggest advice. And then at Carleton, we have a lot of services available to students regarding course help, support, and even your professors. I always champion students coming into universities, talk to your professors. If you don't understand a concept or you want clarification, they're there to help support you. And that's something that I did strongly in my first year. I went to all my professors. I'm like, I don't understand something, or I want clarification on the work. And they're very happy to discuss that with you. So in terms of like how you can transition for that period, I'm like, work with your community and like talk to people, because if you have a question about something, I'm sure a lot of other people in the room have that same question. So always reach out, and you're not alone as you're going through university.
Just want to actually add one thing, as Shay said, that if you go on Carleton's website, you can actually search up peer mentoring for the first year. So what happens is for first year coming students, there's upper year students who can guide you as to how to transition and how to manage work life or student life, as well as just your course load. And it's usually students who are in a similar program than you or have already taken those courses as you. So it's a great option for sure.
I had a question about doing a minor. I know that the Bachelor of Engineering program, I think, already offers a minor in business if you maintain a certain GPA, but how does doing a minor even work?
Yeah, so in terms of doing a minor, usually a minor is around 4 credits. That is a typical amount. So a full degree program is 20 credits. A major is usually 8. A minor is usually 4. And so what happens is in a degree program, if there's a particular minor that you want to do, in almost every degree program, I'm so sorry that you mentioned engineering, we'll circle back to that in a second, but in almost every degree program, there are enough elective courses where you can take the courses that are needed for the minor. And so then when you graduate with your degree program and your major, and then you have an extra minor. With engineering, it is a little challenging, depending on the minor that you want to add, because there are almost 0 optional credits within engineering. And so you end up having to do some extra credits to the degree in order to pick up the minor. So you have to decide how much you love us and how much you want to stick around in order to do some credits that are extra to the degree.
So you did a lot of talking about high school applications.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything you can add about like school transfer and, you know, how they look at, you know, if you're moving from college to university,
Sure.
and if there's any changes on that?
Yep. So the most important thing to remember when someone is applying for admission is that there are always 2 things, coming right behind you, there are always 2 things that we look for. One is what we call a basis of admission, which is a way to calculate an admission average, and the second is the prerequisite courses. So in the case where a student, for example, finishes high school and then maybe decides to go to college for a year and then applies to Carleton, what that would look like is the college courses, the year of college study, would become the basis of admission, because that would now be the highest level of study. And so we always take the highest level of study. So that would become the way that we calculate the average. But in most cases, we would go looking for the prerequisites back in high school. So we might calculate the prerequisite average by going back and finding those prerequisites from high school. I appreciate the question, because sometimes what people don't realize, they're surprised to hear that we still care about the prerequisites, even if they've studied at college. And if you're applying to engineering, we're still looking for that functions, chemistry, physics, calculus, and that doesn't disappear if you start at college.
So just a follow-up question.
Yeah.
When you're going from college to university and you're doing like a pathway program, or you're looking to transfer credits, is that something you're going to be doing in your application process, or is that a supplemental application?
So transferring credits from college to university is part of your application process. Basically what we do is we look at what you took at college. We try to award as much credit as we possibly can. But one thing to know, and this is another good question for anyone in the room who is kind of thinking about this, there isn't a one-to-one transfer from college to university. And so the idea that you would spend a year at college and then you would magically get a full year's worth of credit and then quote unquote start in second year is not a thing. And so it's really important to understand that there are amazing reasons to go to college and amazing reasons to start at college and maybe even finish a diploma and then come here. But credit transfer and like starting in second or third year is not one of those reasons.
Okay, so you mentioned the accelerated nursing program. Are there any other STEM accelerated programs offered at Carleton?
There aren't. This is the first time we've done this at a breakneck speed. It's caused a lot of stress, but we're making it go. So no, not yet, but who knows? You know, maybe by the time we graduate our first cohort of nurses, we'll be like, this is great. We love this. Let's do more of this. But we're just in the experimental part of it right now.
Okay, and as a follow-up question, do you guys do double majors?
Yeah, so double majors are definitely a thing. They are more of a thing within the Bachelor of Arts. So if you look at our materials, if you have our view book, and you look at the Bachelor of Arts, you'll see that there are like 30 different majors that fall under the Bachelor of Arts. And so a lot of our Bachelor of Arts students do decide to do different combinations, so like history, poli-sci, film studies, geography, like you can combine a lot of those things. That also, the Bachelor of Science also has double majors, but it's important to remember that a double major always needs to fall within the same degree program. So 2 majors within science, double major. 2 majors within arts, double major. Combined double major between computer science and business, not double major, that's a double degree. So that's not a thing.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm hogging up all the time up here.
I just had a question. So if you already did graduate from high school and you're like upgrading your credits,
Yeah.
what's the application type process for it?
Yeah. So there's a couple of ways that you can go about that. So you could do a couple of things. So you could decide, like let's say you're in your grade 12 year this year. And you look at your grades and your courses and you're like, this isn't going to be enough. So you could forego applying for admission, come back for second year, upgrade, you know, retake some things that you did, maybe got low grades in, and then reapply for, you know, instead of 2025, apply for 2026. What some students do is they'll apply anyway to see if they get in. And then if they get an offer of admission, they might defer their offer of admission until the following year and then return to high school, retake some courses, and see if they can up their admission average, maybe make themselves admissible with a scholarship at that point. So it really depends on what your goals are and what you're trying to do. Okay.
All right, awesome. We'll leave it there for now.
I won't leave. I'll stay.
But yes, yeah, and I'll tell you where you can get more information, and it's very convenient. It's just right behind us. But I want to say a big thanks to Jen, Shay, Sukriti, and Caitlin for joining us. So a round of applause to our amazing panelists. You may all now leave the stage.
Excellent.
As we wrap up tonight, what a great evening. Thank you all so much for being here. I have one last little thing I want to do before we go, because it is the official kickoff of the holiday season, and there's nothing better than a holiday game. And so I need 4 brave volunteers to come on stage to play a quick, it'll be like a 2-minute game with me. Yes. Okay, 1, we got 2, 3, and 4. So please come onto the stage, grab a seat, one of our fancy red chairs. Round of applause for our volunteers. So in my household, we have a really fun game we play. It's called Yes or No, where I ask a question and you'll answer with either yes or no. Okay? Make sense? Yes. Maybe is not allowed. So it's just a pure yes or no. So the question is this. Do you want to win a gift tonight? Just please let me know yes or no, yes or no.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
They all said yes. They all win a prize. Congratulations. Yeah, round of applause. Thank you for playing. That's the game, y'all. That's the game. Here you go. Congratulations. Thank you. And for my folks who are watching online, you get to play as well. You can win a prize too. We'll pick a winner and we'll send you a prize very, very soon. Stay connected with us. Tonight is a great chance for the folks who are here to go into our reception area to ask more questions, get into more conversations. We're going to stay here all night long if we need to answer all of your questions. Sorry, Jen. And then for the folks who are online, we have our team that's still answering your questions, so please keep asking those questions. Again, stay connected through our admissions website, admissions.carleton.ca. Our 360.carleton.ca is your one-stop shop to learn more about your application, register for events, and so on. And I know we joked a lot about the podcast, but in all seriousness, we have this podcast in our office that allows you to have, or us to have, conversations about us and about who we are. And this year we're featuring our amazing professors. So if you want to learn more about the people who are going to be teaching your students, please check out the Talk Raven podcast. Okay, that's it for me. Happy holidays. We really hope to see you in 2025. Thank you so much. Okay, yes.